What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another look at recent sales for loose graded vintage Star Wars figures. We've got some Spanish figures, some Lili Ledies, some kind of rarities that you don't see very often, including one that's in this thumbnail that I have never seen before actually at all. So I did some research on it and I got some more information on it. So buy it now's auctions. I've got it all, everything from early figures to last 17. Let's go ahead and dig in. This seller, UKG, I bought from him in the past. I've highlighted his sales in the past. He listed a bunch of really nice figures, which are kind of interspersed throughout this video. But this is a Dark Dome Hong Kong R2-D2. And usually the Dark Domes are associated with the early bird kits that came out. So this is kind of like the earliest version of R2-D2 solid dome. And this one sold at an auction for £243, which is $313 US, UKG 85%. And then you had this one also that came up that sold for a little bit more in a buy it now situation from Treasures from the Attic, another UK seller that always has really nice stuff. This one looked a little bit cleaner. If you look at the sticker on this one versus this one, it could be lighting, admittedly, but it looks to me that this one has a slightly yellowed sticker versus this one that looks very bright white. Again, the dark blue dome is how it's labeled, the earliest version of R2-D2. And this one sold in a buy it now for £295, which is $380 US. I think both of those prices were great. And, you know, for an AFA 85 for a dark blue dome, you're talking big boy money, probably $500 to $600 based on last sales that I've seen out there. So nice early dark blue dome R2-D2s, one for $380 US and one for $313 US. Here's another PBP Chewbacca floating D variant. This is the harder of the two Spanish PBP variants to find for Chewbacca. This one sold in a buy it now, UKG 85% for £109, which is $140 US. There was another UKG 85 that sold at auction for about this price or even higher recently, so I thought that was a pretty fair deal for what it is. Next up, here's one that was interesting, and this one I sent out in a buy it now alert to my Patreons, and one of them did pick it up, and he's like, I had to have it. I didn't know much about it, and quite honestly, I didn't know about this either. So this is a translucent rocket Spanish PBP tri-logo Boba Fett. So this is the dark belt with the painted knee and the painted dart. Usually it's painted knee, unpainted dart. So this is yet another variation for the PBP variation. Now, look at this rocket on the back, and it's labeled as a translucent rocket by UKG. And you can see it's almost like a see-through plastic that was used for that rocket. And I did look in the Spanish guide, and I told the person who bought this that I would. I'll do some research on it. I did not find any additional information on this in the Spanish guidebook by Javier Ruy Lopez. In all fairness, I only have the first edition of that book, and he did release a second edition, which may have more detail on this. But from what I could tell, this is a pretty unique variant. It could be like a factory error. I don't know. It could be just like the wrong plastic was used for the rocket before it was inserted into the backpack, but it's very clearly like a translucent plastic that was used for that rocket. And it was only a UKG 75 SA only. It's a pretty rare item. I mean, that's the first time I've ever seen one of these labeled as such by UKG. I've never seen an AFA or CAS example. So my gut says that this is either a factory error or it's a lesser known variant that was produced in very limited runs from the Spanish PBP factory. Either way, it's a really hot item. I was very tempted to buy it myself, to be honest with you. I sent it out to my Patreons. They did buy it very quickly. It sold for £450, which is $579 US and change. I mean, to me, it's a unique variant. It also is the harder to find painted knee with the painted dart. As I said, most of them are painted knee or unpainted with the unpainted dart. There's obviously also an unpainted knee version, but you know, I think based on the guidebook on the page for the PBP Boba Fett, there's like 8 different main variations. You can consider this a 9th variation, I suppose, or a factory error of some sort. Either way, it's a really good talking piece, really cool talking piece for your collection. And it allows you to still hunt the other PBP tri-logo Boba Fetts, knowing that you have a fairly unique one already in your collection. So very good pickup there. I was very tempted by it, to be honest with you. So congrats to the Patreon supporter who grabbed that one. Here is a Red Bar R5D4 graded UKG 85%. I did send this out as a Patreon buy it now alert. I don't know if they bought it or not. It sold fairly quickly thereafter, but this is the Red Bar, and these continue to be very, very pricey. A CAS 80 Plus sold on Facebook, I'm going on memory, but it was around $1,400 or $1,500 for that. This was a UKG 85%, straight 85s. It looks every bit of an 85 to me. You could maybe argue that the sticker has a very slight amount of scuffing right there, but give me a break. This is a Red Bar R5, very, very desirable variant that continues to go up in price. You know, we had a slowdown over the last 6 to 9 months in the collectibles market. That was not the case for Red Bars. Red Bars have done nothing but go straight up in value. There has been zero price decrease that I've seen for Red Bars. Even loose, ungraded, in kind of rough condition, they can sell $600 to $800 now, which is insane to me, but that's what it is. This one did sell for 1,100 pounds, which is $1,400 US. Again, I would love to tell you, don't buy it at that price, but that's what it is. I mean, that's what they've been selling even on Facebook. So I think it was very fair and very, you know, it was very priced very fair relative to the other examples I've seen in lower grade from other grading companies on Facebook. Beautiful figure. Here was the brown-haired Hong Kong Luke Skywalker. We've talked about this variant in recent other videos. There was an AFA 85 old case style that sold for $500. So I sent this out as a buy it now alert to my Patreons. I don't know if they bought it again, but I assume they did. You know, sometimes it doesn't update to let me know when you guys get something. And I think that this was a very fair price. It was a UKG 85 brand new case style. It also did have kind of a unique paint scheme to the hands and the neck area. It's a much lighter paint scheme than what I usually see for the brown-haired Hong Kong COO of Luke Farm Boys. So to me, it was kind of a double unique variant. It wasn't labeled pale hands and pale chest, but judging by the AFA 85 that sold that I covered in another recent video, to me, this was a kind of a unique factory paint error or factory paint variation. And it was priced about the same, $508 US, 400 pounds. Here was that double telescoping saber Luke Farm Boy that I had in my what to buy video. And I think I said, don't quote me on this, but I think I said it would sell for around $1,200 US. And sure enough, it did. It sold for $1,188 US or 922 pounds. So I think I was right on the money on that one. It doesn't happen often, folks. It doesn't happen often where I'm pretty close on the price, but I nailed a UKG 90 vinyl Cape Jawa. I said it would sell for $4,400. It sold for $4,400 and a penny. And then this one, I think I also said it would sell for around $1,200. So it's pretty close on both of those. But that was a beauty. Brand new case style. I like how the inner filament is kind of fully extended in that etched accessory case. Absolute stunner of a figure and definitely an 80 grade overall. To me, that's an absolute fair deal for what it is. And congrats whoever got that one. I've got some die casts that also sold, loose graded die cast, and they were some good deals, really. The die cast tie Advance, that one sold for 124 pounds, which is $159 US and change. This was a UKG 80%. Just to get one of these graded by CAS, it costs about this amount. It's about $140 plus shipping to and from CAS. So you're running probably close to $200 just to grade one. And admittedly, the cases from CAS are better. They are the best on the market for loose graded die cast vehicles, but it's a lot more expensive than what these went for. This one went, again, for $159. The UKG 75% X-Wing sold for $131 US, 102 pounds. And then finally, the die-cast Land Speeder UKG 80 sold for 102 pounds, which is 131 US dollars. So basically, at or below grading costs with CAS, you could have added 3 different loose graded die casts already graded by UKG. So I thought all 3 of those were great deals relative to what I have to pay to get mine graded over here. Next up was a UKG 85% blue smock Ugnaught. This is a variant I definitely want to grab soon. I only have like the purple smock, and I know that a lot of people say, and I agree, that the purple smock is nothing more than a degraded blue smock. And I tend to agree with that. AF8 tends to agree with that. but I don't have a true blue smock like this. So I was tempted on this one. Unfortunately, I just got sidetracked when this one sold, and it did sell for 104 pounds, which is 134 US dollars, probably about right. I mean, it's not a particularly rare figure, so I'll probably grab one at some point later this year, but that's kind of on my short list. I wouldn't mind grabbing one of those. It's a fairly common figure, and they do come up AFA and CAS and UKG graded pretty regularly, but I just liked how bright blue that smock was. It's a very deep, dark, kind of royal blue that I don't have for the one in my collection. Next up was the Lili Ledy Cap 2, kind of a cool mini rig that's already been, loose graded, and it has that Lili Ledy sticker. I always like how they do that. It was only a UKG 75, but it only sold for 64 pounds, which is $82. What a deal for a foreign vintage variant. To me, that was a great buy. If you can live with a 75 grade. I think the main reason it got the 75 was because of the yellowed canopy. It was pretty heavily yellowed, but it is what it is. It's a foreign variant, and it just looks really nice in that display. For $82, you can't beat that price. Here's another Lili Ledy. This one I sent out in a buy it now alert this morning, and it was snapped up in like 2 minutes. So I assume that one of y'all bought this one as well. This is the Prune Face, graded UKG 85%. It was listed for 195 pounds. Best offer accepted. I forgot to look up what the actual sales price was before I started filming, but probably in the ballpark of 225 US dollars for that one. Very nice figure, and I see them sell for this price or more in the Facebook groups, loose, complete, and ungraded. So very fair price on that one. Another Lili Ledy, we had two different Emperor's Royal Guards that sold. Both of them were graded UKG 80%. He's known to come with a much darker gray force pike, and this one sold in an auction for 63 pounds, which is 81 US dollars and changed. And then the same seller also had another one that sold, and it was also the same grade, UKG 80%. That one sold for almost 71 pounds, which is 91 US dollars. So, again, it's not an 85, but it's a very nice foreign vintage variant in near mint to near mint minus condition. And to get it for less than 100 US dollars, that's a good deal. Next up was a Lili Ledy Emperor. And we all know that he comes with a black Chief Chirpa staff that is Lili Ledy specific. They usually have a little L stamp on those, and they're black. And that one is a pretty well-known variant. This one did have a little bit of torso discoloration, and that does happen with the Lili Ledy Emperor. And it's also very common to have nose rub, which this one did have. It also did have some rubs and chips on the hand. I would argue this is probably more like a 75 grade. It was maybe a little bit overgraded, but it is what it is. It sold for 49 pounds, which is 64 US dollars. That's not a bad price at all for what it is. But again, probably a little overgraded in my opinion. It was probably more like a 75 with the chips to the hand and the nose, and then the torso discoloration, which is very faint on this one. But usually the Lili Ledy Emperor is known to discolor on that torso versus the Kenner counterpart. Next up, we had a Dianoga Trash Monster. This was graded CAS 90 plus, 102.50 in an auction on 14 bids. That was a bargain. And, I think an AFA 90 plus would probably set you back 2.5 times that price. So it doesn't show well for CAS at least with the Dianoga Trash Monster. And I do get this question a lot, is like, do you think that CAS graded items sell for the same price as AFA and UKG items? And I always say it depends. It depends on the item. For something fairly common like the Trash Monster, these come up all the time. Every month, there's always AFA or CAS or UKG graded Trash Monsters. And it's a common item. Now, for rare items like a Red Bar R5 or any kind of foreign variant that is appropriately labeled and graded for, the score is appropriate for the condition of the figure, I would argue that for some of those rarities, it doesn't really matter which of the three grading companies it is. So pick your poison. A lot of people have very specific wants as it relates to either the grade or which grading company they use. To me, I don't particularly care. I like all three grading companies. I have all three grading companies in terms of loose graded variants in my collection. It just depends. Okay. So now that AFA's opened back up, I will be curious to see how the loose graded market changes, if at all. I know there's going to be an automatic backlog of 4 months or more for any AFA loose submissions, but once we get 4 months from now, is there going to be a big flood of AFA items on the market that maybe brings prices down? I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. But at least as of right now, for the Trash Monster in a 90 plus grade, it seems like you're going to be paying 2 to 2.5 times that if you get an AFA example. Take that for what you will. Next up, we had a Blue Saber Luke Jedi, and this is always a desirable variant. It was a UKG 85%. It was also a snap cape variant. So this is the Hong Kong. I've heard that the no COO Blue Saber Luke only comes with a sewn cape. I have no way to verify that, but I seem to remember Thomas G or some of those other, Craig T. There's some Luke Jedi experts that mention that the no COO only comes with a sewn cape. I've got a CAS graded example of the no COO that was encased and graded with a snap cape. Is that mismatched factory accessories? I don't know. But either way, it still looks pretty awesome in the case, so I don't really particularly care. But anyway, this Hong Kong, it does have the snap cape. Beautiful Blue Saber, and that one sold in an auction for 215 pounds, 277 US dollars. That was a bargain, a price I would have paid in a heartbeat for that if I needed one. Now I've got a nice comparison here as it relates to talking about the different grading companies. In this case, we have a UKG 90% EV99, and we're going to compare that to the sales price in an auction for both of them for an AFA 85 plus. And I've always said a UKG 90% is very similar in grade to an AFA 85 plus. And in this case, the market is valuing a UKG gold level 90% more than they're valuing an AFA 85 plus. The 90% UKG sold for 410 pounds, which is 528 US dollars. The EV99, which was an AFA 85 plus again, gold level, and that one sold for 425 US dollars. Now, one of them was in the UK, and you're converting British pounds to US dollars. One of them, the AFA example, was in the US, so you got straight US dollars. So currency conversion could be playing a factor. I don't think that that tells the whole story, though, just given the big price disparity. So we got 528 versus 425. To me, that's a pretty big price difference. And at least in this example, both of these sold the same day or very close to it. At least in this example for the EV99, the market is saying that they're willing to pay more for a gold level UKG 90 versus an AFA 85 plus. Let me know in the comments after you leave a thumbs up which one you'd rather have. To me, I don't particularly care. I think I'd be fine with either one of them. I don't have either one, so I'd be happy with either one of those in my collection. That's all I really had for this look at loose graded action figures in this video. I hope you enjoyed this look. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.